Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining me. Before we get started, please be sure to hit subscribe to keep up with all of my latest investing and personal finance content. And please check out the link you see on the screen for a special message from our sponsor, The Motley Fool, where you can get the 10 best stocks to buy right now. All right. So, if you inherit an IRA, there's a lot of confusion about what happens then. Can you just leave the money in the account to grow and compound until you retire? Do you have to start taking it out? Do you have to take it out right away? Can you wait a while? So, we're going to go over the rules. So, just a few general things before we get going. First, the account immediately will transfer into the beneficiary's name at the time of death as an inherited IRA. It's not the same as if you have your own IRA, meaning you can't contribute to an inherited IRA generally. You can't, make new investments. You can't treat it as your own unless in except for a few special cases, which I'll get to in a minute. You can continue to leave the money invested until you have to withdraw it. Again, something we'll get to in a minute. You can choose investments, you can make moves in the account. If there are more than one beneficiary, each one of them will have a separate inherited IRA. That's not mandatory to do, but it's usually easier. And with inherited IRAs, there's no such thing as an early withdrawal penalty. With your own IRA, you get penalized 10% of your withdrawal amount if you don't have a qualifying reason or you're not old enough to withdraw. That's not the case if you inherit an IRA. So for inherited IRAs, there's two basic groups that people are broken into: spouses and non-spouses. And there's two completely different sets of rules for each. For a spouse, if you inherit an IRA from your spouse, you can essentially just treat it as your own. The standard retirement age, the standard withdrawal rules apply. You can simply just roll it into an account in your own name and act as if it were your own IRA. You have the option of withdrawing the money out faster or earlier if you want to. You can use what's called the 10-year withdrawal method, where you split the account withdrawals up over 10 years and you just have to clear it out by the end of that 10th year. You can choose to take it as a lump sum withdrawal if you need the money. Remember, if it's a traditional IRA, the money will be considered taxable income, but you won't be penalized and you can take the money out as soon as you want. You can also use what's called the life expectancy withdrawal method. This uses IRS tables to determine how long you're expected to live from this point, and you can spread withdrawals over that period according to the IRS's formula. So if you're a spouse, generally those are the guidelines. Most spouses just elect to treat it as their own IRA. If you're a non-spouse, it's a little bit trickier. The only options to you, if you're not a spouse, let's say you inherit the IRA from a parent or another relative, is to either take a lump sum withdrawal, or you can choose the 10-year withdrawal method, whereas all of the money has to be out of the account within 10 years. The 2020 Secure Act eliminated a third option that was available if you inherited an IRA in 2019 or earlier. You were able to use that life expectancy method and effectively spread out the contributions throughout the rest of your expected lifespan. That's not available if you inherit an IRA in 2020 or later, except in a couple of exceptions, specifically minor children. If you're a minor when you inherit an IRA, you can still use the life expectancy method until you are 18 years old. After you turn 18, then the 10-year clock will start, and you'll have 10 years to cash out the account. You can also use the life expectancy method if the account owner was 10 years or more older, or was less than 10 years older than you. So comparable age to what you would expect from a spouse, essentially. You can use the lifetime withdrawal method, or if you're chronically ill or disabled, you can also use the life expectancy method. So things to consider, as I mentioned, traditional IRA withdrawals are considered taxable income. Roth IRAs withdrawals are generally tax-free, but just like if it's your own Roth IRA, an inherited Roth IRA must be open for 5 years before you can get tax-free withdrawals of investment profits. So for spouses, if you inherit an IRA for the spouse, the general best move is to treat it as your own IRA. Leave it alone until you need the money in retirement, and just treat it as if it were your account that you opened in the first place. That's not a one size fits all answer, obviously. In a lot of cases, you might need the money. So you do have the option to take it out sooner than full retirement age. If you're not a spouse, generally the best course of action is to delay it as long as possible, meaning the 10-year withdrawal time frame. So if you're not a spouse, that's generally the best. The goal is to limit your tax liability in any given year. And if you take a lump sum withdrawal, let's say your inherited IRA has $100,000 in it, that's considered as $100,000 added to your taxable income this year. Obviously, not very desirable in a lot of situations. So hopefully that cleared up a lot. Please leave me any questions you have in the comments. I'll do my best to address them individually. And thanks for tuning in. Once again, thank you so much for joining me. Be sure to click subscribe if you don't subscribe to my channel already. And as always, this video is sponsored by The Motley Fool. Be sure to visit www.fool.com/Frankel to receive the top 10 best stocks to buy now.